But to go between Tanzania and Nigeria, you need somebody to bear some counterparty risk that the ledgers both move and are adjusted at the same time. And usually it's a bank that is in both countries. You could use blockchain, but the current thinking is you need a bridge currency in between, and that bridge could be a stable value that's backed by the US dollar or the euro. It could be a currency even like Ripple has an alternative. It's just piloted in May, so it's not yet up in any enterprise-wide level.
Welcome back to the channel once again. What are these lies that have been flying in about Ripple and XRP? We'll find out shortly. Now, that was a video from the chairman of the SEC almost a decade ago when he was at the CFTC, MIT SLOAN, right before joining the SEC. So we've seen XRP being declared a digital currency on multiple occasions. The present chairman of the SEC, who has decidedly refused to bring a halt to the ongoing lawsuit between his side and Ripple Labs on the alleged claims that the fintech startup had engaged in sale of unregistered securities in the form of XRP. Yet we have the same SEC chair from time immemorial during his days as an associate professor at MIT who had consistently affirmed that XRP was a security, now bringing a different approach to the classification of cryptocurrencies, XRP, and digital securities a little after joining the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. So here I am asking myself, what changed? Did Ripple change its modus operandi from the time when Gary Gensler was at MIT SLOAN to the time when he became the chairman of the SEC? Or has Ripple always maintained the same structure from the start? What are these lies the SEC has been feeding us about Ripple and XRP? Stick around to find out all about the many inconsistencies in these misleading assertions from top-ranking past and present officials of the United States financial watchdogs, who had all at some point before joining the commission sworn an oath to protect investors' interests. In the meantime, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and turn on bell notifications.
To Philippine peso. That is called a bridge crypto or bridge currency. That's in fact what Ripple is trying to do with XRP. So Ripple is a company that started as a messaging, a payment messaging service to compete with SWIFT. And that messaging service, which we'll talk about more Thursday, has been adopted by many banks. More recently, in 2018, they rolled out a prototype of using a crypto token, XRP, as a bridge currency. I would say yes, it is possible. I think there's an issue also about volatility. So if you're moving fiat dollar to crypto, Bitcoin, XRP, to fiat, if you have a lot of volatility, that means it's a less it could be costly. But if it's stable value, so you can lower the cost two ways: lowering the volatility of the crypto, or lower the time. And XRP believes they have a solution that can be down to seconds, and thus even if it's volatility, that in seconds it won't move as much. And the friction will be that you have to sell dollars to buy XRP and then sell XRP to buy peso, or you can interpose any bridge currency. One of the most significant opportunities for stable value tokens that we'll talk about in a few classes is maybe as what we can call it as a bridge currency for cross-border.
Now, a couple of years after, a few months into taking over the lead umpire role from Jay Clayton at the SEC, Gary Gensler suddenly had an about-face regarding his classification of the Ripple-endorsed cryptocurrency XRP. And it was almost as if these two characters, the one from his days as the chairman of the Commodity and Futures Trading Commission, and the one from his days at the SEC, are two different personalities.
He was a gentleman in Florida that put up citrus groves and started to sell them. And the Supreme Court had to decide what is an investment contract, because an investment contract is a security. This four-part test, in my mind, suggests that most, maybe not all, but most initial coin offerings are securities, because they're investment contracts where there is an exchange of money, there's a common enterprise, you're relying on somebody else's expertise for profits.
This is why I've earlier this year said I think that most of them are. I think Ether, when it was done in 2014, would pass this test. When I say pass, it means it's a security. Now, subsequently, the SEC has said by 2018 it's decentralized enough, and they've sort of said, we'll let it go the other way. But whether it's Ripple or EOS or others that have done big initial coin offerings, when you think about these four things, they're probably there. But again, it's less than a quarter of the market. So this is an important debate, but it's not the whole debate.
So if you look at this constructively, we can see very clearly that although Gary Gensler was not the SEC chair who had initiated the lawsuit, however, the most shocking of it all is why he seems to be even more pressing about it than the originators of the lawsuit between Ripple and the SEC, former chairman of the commission, Jay Clayton, even though he is well aware, as we can see from his previous statements from a while ago, that XRP is not a security. Likewise, we have this interesting find from JV the Great, such that it does wear Gary Gensler in one of his famously inconsistent speeches. So moving on to the even more lies, in the form of those that have been told subsequent to the unfolding of events in the ongoing lawsuit between Ripple and the SEC, we have attorney Jeremy Hogan here talking about the SEC affirming misleading statements on multiple fronts, which they know aren't true. How would this all play out eventually? Well, let's take a quick look at that.
Section 4 could exempt investors in the market from registration. This is so misleading on multiple fronts. First, notice that the SEC says that Section 4 could exempt investors from registration. But why do they say could? Because they know this statement is not true if they get the verdict they want. I know this personally because I've been told by SEC lawyers directly that my clients who owned a digital asset could not trade the digital assets because a court had deemed them securities per se. That was spoken directly to me by the SEC for lawyers, off the record, of course.
Now guys, this is the reason why John Deaton and a lot of these crypto enthusiasts, mostly the smart ones, have been fighting with the SEC, given its misleading and defamatory classification of crypto assets that would definitely affect all crypto project owners and platforms. The very reason why everyone else in this space, every news platform, CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, all media personalities in this space, Kristen Smith, A. Pompliano to say the least, this right here is why I think everyone should join Ripple in this fight. But, too sad everyone who could have never lifted not even a finger, instead turned a blind eye. Meanwhile, onto the all-seeing eyes of attorney John Deaton, from the very desk of Andrew Langer, president of the Institute for Liberty and founder of the Institute for Regulatory Analysis and Engagement, and host of the Andrew Langer Show. So, guys, this group of individuals, spearheaded by Andrew Langer, have now written to the Maryland Secretary of State, Honorable John Wobensmith, regarding a Maryland corporation, Annabelle Lee LLC, that's been listed on the United States Office of Government Ethics disclosure forms as being owned and managed or directly financially benefiting the presiding SEC chair, Gary Gensler. According to this document, given the official records available online, Gary Gensler, who happens to be a resident somewhere within the suburbs of Maryland, the said company under his ownership, Annabelle Lee, forfeited its Maryland state registration sometime in 2006 for failure to file property declarations and has been rated as not being in good shape over the last 16 years. During which more findings from this group disclose that this company does not seem to have any registration with and in any of the 50 states in the United States of America, not just Maryland. However, given this glaring deficiency, SEC Chair Gary Gensler had listed this among his companies, among his list of most recent OGE public disclosure, as continuing to operate and benefit him financially to the tune of millions of dollars. So given the interest in public policy, opinion, and transparency, Mr. Langer urges this honorable and a group of other United States elder statesmen, including Senator Patrick Toomey of Pennsylvania, Congressman Tom Emmer, Patrick McHenry, and Warren Davidson of the Minnesota, North Carolina, and Ohio's congressional districts respectively, to intervene on behalf of the transparency as a means of ensuring good governance and reassuring the people's confidence in the powers that be. Where he, Mr. Langer, goes on to put forth the recommendation that these political leaders look into this matter with Annabelle Lee LLC to confirm the truthness of that. And if confirmed, Mr. Gensler will be summoned for inquiries as to why this many inconsistencies.
Central monopolist with another central monopolist, a lot of commercial banks aren't terribly excited about that. Maybe you're going to have to give some ownership. Maybe you'll have to give 50% of your ownership to the 20 banks that are now, part of this. I mean, there are other ways to build incentive systems. Maybe you put a native token in there, and you give the native token. So there may be other incentive ways to beat the current monopolist, but I, having been around commercial banks for a long time, they really are looking for ways to replace their aggregators in their back office, whether it's clearing, settlement, exchanges, credit agencies, but they are deeply understanding, because they are pretty ambitious and very good at making money as well. They deeply understand that every idea that's pitched to them is somebody who currently is small but wants to get big and gain market power. So they're also always thinking about how to ensure that there's a check to slow down your startup from gaining market power 5, 10, and 15 years from now. They don't want you to be the next clearinghouse like the Chicago Mercantile Exchange or Intercontinental Exchange. They don't want you to be the next central node of market power. So you might share some of that with them, or you might find an incentive system.
Hollywood perfect. That's how it goes. Hollywood perfect.